Dr. Homebrew is brought to you by 5 Star Chemicals, providing safety and cleaning supplies for brewing, distilling, and winemaking at 5starchemicals.com.
Doctor, look.
Stand aside, nurse. I'm Dr. Homebrew.
Stand clear.
Hey, everybody.
Hola.
It's Dr. Homebrew. And we're back. It's another Thursday night. And we're ready to talk some beers, man. We got some beers in front of us, some beers to the right of us, and some beers to the left of us. So it's pretty much beer central right now as far as I'm concerned.
We got a lot to talk about.
We have a lot to talk about. It's funny talking to Doc like before the shows, because sometimes he'll just repeat like the very last thing that he said, which may or may not be relevant, but in this case it was super relevant. He's like, I'm like, we're going to start the show, right? Because we're running a little behind as usual, traffic and everyone getting here and stuff, and had some beers to judge, and he's like, yeah, which one are we doing? This one in front of us. Okay, we have a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do.
Now, we have a lot to talk about.
Is it the fish beer? Is that the one?
It's the fish beer, yeah.
Yeah.
Doc brings in a fucking plate of, what did you, fish and chips.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I'm ready to judge beer.
Hey, guys.
Hey, it cleansed my palate.
It did.
I can talk coherently now.
Well, that's no fun.
Man. You gave me 2 beers to judge this afternoon.
I did.
Wow, I couldn't. Wow.
Oh, you did them this afternoon?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow.
Ah.
Okay. Well, that explains a little bit more about
This is why I got a
what
little
you're talking
scared and I needed to get some food in me.
Yeah.
I didn't care what it was.
Yeah.
That's the point. And I don't care about you, and I don't care about you. So, have some fish.
Well, there you go.
Man.
That's the thing about Doc.
You never make it in our beer judging 101 class.
You think he cares about you after 15 years, but it turns out he doesn't.
No. Hey, it all comes out in the end. You'll be better off.
I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
You're lucky you know me.
No.
Oh, I thought he was talking about poop.
No. Where are you guys? Come on.
It all comes out in the end,
No.
JP.
Yeah, and you'll be okay.
You'll be okay.
It's like, all right.
No, that means you're going to look back on and say, oh, cool.
Cool that I knew you,
You know what? In the
Yeah,
grand
well, yeah.
scheme of things,
even though you don't care about me.
all the shit I had to put up with
I don't
Doc.
care about what you think. I didn't say I don't care about you.
Hey, you did.
Okay, let me amend that one.
Okay.
I don't care about what you think.
Oh, okay, that's fine then. Yeah, because I don't really care about what you think either.
Good.
All right.
Yeah, but you care about me.
Yes, of course.
Okay, good.
Well, you're Doc.
Oh,
Why wouldn't I
I
care
care
about
about Bryan, too.
you? See?
let's have a group hug, guys.
Do you have anything you want to say to Doc? Bryan, he just opened up to you.
I feel special. I'm not going to criticize your fish-eating ways anymore.
Well, it might not happen for a long time.
That's true. Yeah, but when it does,
It makes for
watch
good
out.
radio.
When he looks at that menu and he sees the fish and chips, that's the only thing that's calling out to it.
No, it's all good. You know what? I mean, as soon as you left the room and took the remnants with you, it was gone.
I know. I
It's
told
gone.
did.
It's gone.
I told you it would.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to leave like the carcass here and stuff. Come on.
Got a good fan in here, too. It's
Oh,
good.
man. All right, well, this is Dr. Homebrew, and before we jump into the beers, I want to thank our sponsor, 5 Star Chemicals. I know we go on and on about 5 Star, but they really are that good. I love using 5 Star, and anything I can, honestly, around the house, even not just cleaning and sanitizing beer equipment, but it's stellar for that. You clean your carboys, you have to clean everything, and then you sanitize everything. You can't do both jobs at one time. It just doesn't work very well. And these people at 5 Star, this is their business. They know exactly how to manufacture the proper cleaning supplies to do this kind of stuff. And they've done the reports, and they've done the numbers, and they've crunched everything in the labs, and it just, time and time again, man, they show that you have to clean and sanitize. And the best way to do it, PBW.
That's true.
That's
That is true. I give those guys a 5-star review.
Yeah. I think you should. Yeah. They're going to be at NHC, too. So if you guys are at NHC and you want to swing by the 5-star booth, they're always giving little stuff away. I don't know, talk to them about it. You know, if you're one of the doubters, talk to them about it. And if you're one of the fans, even more importantly, talk to them about it and thank them for being a sponsor of Dr. Homebrew.
Yeah,
Seriously,
we'd
we
love to
them.
hear from you anyway.
Or if you have questions about using the products and like, oh, maybe you're mixing too much or too little PBW, or just for what you're doing, you can talk to them and they'll give you pointers and help you out.
Yeah.
How long does that star sand last? When you mix it up,
that's the
kind of
thing.
thing.
Like they're one of the only companies that I know of that tells you how to stretch their product. You don't have to just mix it fresh every time. Yeah. You can keep it around, and they'll tell you how to do all that kind of stuff. They're cool people. I like them. 5starchemicals.com. Check them out. Okay, let's just jump into this. I'm going to call Bryan on the phone here because it's Bryan time.
Bryan time.
And while we get him on the phone, which one of you has the bottle of beer? This guy right here, right? And while it's ringing,
all right.
pour this beer. This is a Saison, right?
Saison with Brett and peaches.
Bryan, are you on the phone, buddy?
Hello.
How you doing?
Hey.
Can you hear us all right?
I can.
All right.
Hear me?
Perfect. Yeah.
Awesome.
Let me turn you up a little bit. All right, man. Well, before we jump into your beer, how long have you, sir, been homebrewing?
Maybe about 6 years.
Okay. So you're a veteran.
Yeah, I guess. I don't feel that way, but yeah.
Yeah. You may never feel that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. Until you're like 80 and you can't pick up a carboy. Yeah. Once you die, you'll feel like a veteran.
Yeah.
Take it from Doc.
Thanks. Yeah. Am I moving up the death pool?
You're moving up the death pool, man. So this is a... well, here, I'll let you describe. What is this beer that you got?
So, I'm not really sure how to describe it. It's kind of a hodgepodge. You said I had some experience brewing maybe, but, one of the mistakes everyone makes when they first start brewing is they try to make really overcomplicated beers with way too many ingredients. And so with this beer is kind of like that, but more so in technique than ingredients. I tried a whole bunch of stuff that I've been wanting to try in a couple different beers, and I kind of ended up somehow doing it on one beer. So it's a Saison, which I brew quite a bit of, and it's my base Saison recipe. I usually brew a rye Saison, so I was looking through the BYO magazine from last year that was dealing with fruit, and there's a beer in there called White Flag, and it kind of matched my grain bill, but not my hop schedule. But anyway, long story short is I kind of stole some from them, and they were using some non-traditional Saison hops. They were using a Citra and Amarillo, I think, and so I stole from them, and I used my grain bill, and I wanted to maybe brew a beer with some Brett after never having done it before, and so I used some Brett, and I also wanted to use some fruit, so I have a local orchard close by, about 2 or 3 miles away, and have access to really fresh fruit. So I got some peaches. So essentially, it's a peach Saison brewed with American hops and laid on actually a shit ton of peaches.
I'm told there are millions of peaches in this beer.
Yeah, it's a very fruit forward beer. The way it turned out, and it was really interesting. As Tasty always talks about tasting your beer the whole way through the process. It changed a lot. Even today, it tastes different.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Well, Bryan, you want to start us off the journey down the peach Saison beer?
I'd be interested to taste how it was at different stages along the way, because it's reached a point here where it's got a lot of different things going on. So it does have an aroma that's got a very big Brett character up front. Seems like it's been chewing on something in there for a while. A substantial underlying, the Brett kind of wins out, and then it's got a very pleasant peach character underneath that, and kind of balanced with the Brett. I'm getting some clean lemony esters, like the Saison like esters with a light little orange under there, which some of the citrusy and maybe some light kind of tropical aromas could be coming from the hops too. But I'm not really getting any hop in the aroma. It's either aged out or it's overpowered by the other things that are going on. But yeah, the bread's kind of expressing itself as a pretty big horse blankety and hay-like note, a little barnyard under that. And but yeah, it's no diacetyl or acetaldehyde, and it's kind of smooth, and it has an inviting balance. The aroma in the beer is really inviting. It kind of gives you a little bit of the style and a big Brett aroma. Appearance-wise, it's kind of as expected. It's pretty hazy, but it's a nice yellow-colored beer with a low white head that faded pretty soon after pouring. It's kind of as you'd expect in a beer like this. Pretty fine bubbles, and just drops out to this hazy yellow,
which is a cool color.
Yellow liquid, yeah. I mean, it tastes like straw and looks like straw, kind of. The flavor-wise, it does have some of the bright lemony esters that you want in a Saison. Kind of medium high in there. The malt and everything is really just supporting medium low breadiness in there. It just dries out. There's no sweetness whatsoever in this beer. It's just a very, very dry finish. And the Brett is super obvious with this. It's got a pretty intense horse blankety, a little bit of barnyard, a little bit of hay, and it's a pleasant Brett character for what it is, but it's heavy. It's kind of a Brett bomb. I'm searching for the kind of like the spicy pepperiness that you want in a Saison, and I'm having trouble coming up with it. I'm getting a very, very low white pepper in there, but it's pretty faint underneath everything else that's in there. Almost like just a little prickliness on the tongue, which could also be just from carbonation and other things. But yeah, it's no hops noted. The bitterness is kind of low and out of the way, and it's balanced heavily to the Brett. The peaches do come through nicely, though. It does obviously have a lot of fruit in it, and it's a good flavor. So just the Brett wins. So yeah, looking at the three-way style to fruit to Brett, it's definitely Brett and then fruit and then style. So, which is fine. We want to, and Doc and I will talk about this a little bit. We want to find a place to peg this beer because it's really an interesting tasting beer, and some will be super light on the Brett and just starting their journey, and this one's maybe nearing the end of its journey. I don't know how much you have left, but it's in the mouthfeel, it's just super drying, but not astringent. Just get that leathery feeling on your tongue. I'm not getting any obvious warmth here, and no astringency. Kind of medium light bodied, not very creamy. Just mostly the drying is what you get in the mouthfeel.
Yeah.
There could be some alcohol in there, though. I get a little sense of some warmth in the belches.
Is that a section in the
it's not like sheet? Not in the back of your throat, but kind of.
I think it's right here on the score sheet.
What do you get in your belches?
Yes.
Yeah, that's you gotta always comment on that as a judge. So yeah, I do really like this beer overall, and the balance of it is interesting. It's a bit Brett heavy. That definitely wins out. The style is hiding behind that, and it's not giving it much room. So I don't know. I would say if you're aging a beer of a certain style on Brett for this long, you want to look at, if you're going to be serving it at this, I don't know, maybe it's not that aged. I don't know. I might be wrong, but if you want to let it age for a long time on Brett and let that Brett get happy chewing on whatever it's going to chew on, you want to maybe give it a little less to chew on, or just back it off somehow otherwise, or else amp up the style a little bit so that the style will still shine through after the Brett has finished doing what it's going to do in there. It's it's a fun, interesting beer. I really liked it, and I couldn't find a real. I mean, we judged it. We kind of decided to put it as a 28C in the 2015 categories, which is a kind of a wild specialty beer with Brett and fruit, and so I guess that's where you'd put it.
23C, you said?
28C.
28C,
yeah.
Okay.
Wild special.
So I gave it a 37. I really like the beer, and I think it's tasty. I don't know. I'd like to be able to make a beer like this, but with the style pushing up a little bit more to get it up into the 40s, and the fruit is pleasant, but the Brett's even starting to take that over. As many peaches as we were told that were put into this beer.
Yeah, 27 pounds
that's
or something like that.
27 pounds, yeah. That's a Blazing Star or something, was it? Yeah. Anyway, it's a cool beer. I really enjoy it, and it's fun to talk about it. And Doc will have some opinions too, I'm sure.
we got a lot to talk about.
Yes, we do. We got a lot to talk about.
All right, Brian. Well, thanks, man. That was a good rundown.
Thank you.
All right, Doc.
All right.
It's your turn to get loose, man.
So, we looked at the bottle. It said fruit beer. I cringed a little. I like fruit beers. I like good fruit beers. I don't poo-poo fruit beers in general, but, I've had a lot of bad ones. But the first thing we had when we opened this one, I said, what kind of fruit was it? And, of course, JP had it wrong.
I had it wrong.
And first thing I said, I smell peaches. A lot of peaches.
It's true.
And
a shit ton of peaches.
Like I did say, a shit ton of peaches. That's a really came through really nicely.
Yeah, the aroma's great.
I just love smelling this beer. It's first thing came across is Brett beer. Doesn't say anything about Brett beer on the label either.
No, it doesn't.
Might want to mention that one because when you're expecting one thing and you get something else, everybody's disappointed.
That's true.
So that's the main thing with this beer is always what category we're going to put it in, and then we can kind of go in that kind of general direction. But
which is great because that's what Brian wants help in also.
Yeah. So the general aroma was great. A lot of peaches, which was really nice. The Brett was really nice too. Once I got used to it's a Brett beer. Which it actually worked well with the peaches. It really did. I got a little acetaldehyde, a little bit of nail polish, not a lot, but I really liked the aroma on this beer. It was kind of strong, a lot of strong Brett coming through. People that aren't well adjusted to Brett or just not introduced to Brett, they might not like this so much. They're going to think, something's spoiled in here or something. But actually, to me, it's got a really clean Brett aroma to the whole thing.
Yes, it's not...
it's not overpowering by any means, and it's pleasant.
Yeah, it's not rough around the edges. Like some Brett, you can kind of get a little muddied Brett flavors, and this isn't like that.
This goes well with the fruit.
Yeah.
It really, really does. So
I agree.
The whole aroma thing had me won. On that one. So I was already going to that one. As far as appearance, very light yellow, Saison-y color. It's a little bit cloudy. That's fine. Could have been JP's handling. You never know.
My handling is on point.
Yeah, sure it is. Flavor-wise, I thought it was a bit cidery.
I could see that a little bit.
Yeah, it's just
presents a little appley.
Well, I don't know how you handled the fruit and how that went in there, and that probably had something to do with the cidery quality to it.
Okay.
Not overly powering, like, I wish I didn't have this in my mouth. But that's what kind of came out to me. It was a bit cidery, because there's probably a shit ton of peaches in there.
Right. I think that fruit, maybe the fruit is kind of leaving it a little, not so much body, and that's kind of thinning it out and making it seem cidery, or
I know it had a
Brett characters.
It had a flavor of cidery, kind of appley, kind of kind of that raw fruit kind of flavor.
Okay,
I kind of got that in there. Medium to low malt. I didn't get a lot of malt backbone on it.
Yeah.
Saison. Can't really go with you on that one. I'm right there with Bryan. With I didn't get the spicy peppery that I really needed with it.
I can a little bit,
Right. It's okay.
But not enough to go, hey, this is a Saison.
Yeah, or a very light Saison.
Yeah, maybe like a beer de garde or something.
It would be something on the very low end of that style.
Yeah.
But you start throwing peaches and other stuff into it, you're kind of going to muddy it up, and you're not going to get that out of it.
Yeah, there have been some Brett Saisons, coming out lately, and they do tend to go this direction. It's definitely, it pulls away from the style a little bit. So you kind of have to you either have to forgive that and not look for all the elements of the Saison, or just kind of say, well,
or up your Saison game.
Yeah.
So
I mean, most of them should have a little more pepperiness and even a little more bitterness. Even like it's a lot of things.
So the Brett might be sucking down all your Saison stuff. That's all your flavors. They're gonna do so. Up your Saison.
Okay.
If you're gonna Brett it.
Yeah.
So and then mouthfeel. I thought it was pretty slick and ropey. It just.
Oh really?
Yeah, I did. It just kind of laid on my tongue and. A lot of slickness to it.
What's the moisture factor in this? What's the wetness factor?
There's not a lot of wetness factor. It's like the Exxon Valdez.
Okay.
So
you look at it and you expect to see dust. Yeah.
I don't get a lot of ropey, but
it should just dry right out. But I just get this.
Okay, yeah, maybe a little bit,
like a thick grape juice.
Yeah. Okay.
But it doesn't last because then it dries out. So it's okay. I get some phenolic, some medicinal phenolics.
Okay. I see that. I can do that.
Yeah.
You mean like a Band-Aid-y thing?
Yes, exactly.
Okay. Right.
So it's not your clove and other kind of phenolic. It's going to be your Band-Aid kind of, which is normal for this kind of style.
Okay, it's a yeast. It's
and I kind of expect it, which kind of rounds out the flavor too. It's not overpowering by any means,
right?
But it's kind of cool that it's there. It kind of helps give some complexity to this whole thing.
Okay.
I really think if you're gonna do this style, it needs some kind of lactic in it because it's just not sharp enough. In wine, they call it flabby. It just doesn't have the sharp lactic quality that you're going to need. So you're going to either need to add some kind of lactic something into it.
Yeah.
Or you're going to, something to kind of back up that whole mouthfeel. The lactic will make it sharp, and it'll give it a different complexity to it.
Sure, just another dimension right there. Okay.
All right. So
if you add lactic to this whole mix, it's going to take you even farther away from the style, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And the peaches and everything else. It'll become a four-way horse race there.
It's still going to be a wild specialty ale.
Well, it will be a wild specialty ale. And I do like lactic, blended with bread. I do like that.
It's got to, the lactic part was there for the aroma and the flavor, but it's just the mouthfeel. It's just not there. So it needs kind of something. You got to find some way to kick it a little bit.
It does seem lightly sour. I don't know if it's lactic or just from the bread getting happy in there.
It's a different kind of sour.
Acidity kind of.
It's not a sharp kind of sharpness to it, which would cut that ropiness for me. It would cut the ropiness or the slickness.
Mm-hmm. So maybe I like to try to differentiate between sour and tart with stuff like this, because to me they're very different.
Yes, it's not. I'm not talking sour. I'm talking sharp and tart. You need something to cut that something
cleanse
off.
Your palate.
Yeah, cleanse your palate at the end.
Like Miley Cyrus.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's kind of more what I'm getting to. So there's a couple of different ways to do that. You can use
like a lemon wedge with your fish and chips.
Maybe. It worked for me. So you can use lactic acid. You can use acidulated malt.
Okay.
You can do sour mash. You can do a lot of different things. You can do that. You can put in a peto.
Yeah.
Which is a whole different thing. It takes a long time to get that kind of, but it's a whole different kind of complexity on your tartness.
It might increase the ropiness if you add too much of that.
Yep. So it's all a big, as you said.
Play around with it.
This whole thing's an experiment.
Yeah.
My whole problem with this beer is, what do we call it? And where do we shoehorn it in there? Bryan was saying how he likes it and he thinks it's a fun beer. Mm-hmm. I couldn't agree with him more. I think it's easy drinking. It's a great beer. I didn't get any bad stuff. I didn't get diacetyl. I didn't get any DMS. I didn't get anything like that. It needs a little more here, a little more there, or you just brew it like it is and
call it something else.
Call it something. You can't call it anything. We don't have a category for it, really, unless you throw it into the whatever category.
Okay, so what do you score it?
I'm going to go in the... it's really tough for me.
Yeah.
Because...
Just do your best. That's all we ask you.
Well, let me qualify.
Will he break 30?
Okay.
The whole thing with this is we're trying to... Judge score sheets are about being within style, and you've got to kind of go towards that style. If we're just... we're judging a mutt here.
Right.
It's going to get a higher score. As a general drinkable beer, I'm going to give it a 36. If I had to put it in a category, it's going to get a lot lower than that.
Well, and that's what we have to do. We're judging.
We don't have to.
Well, that's what we're here for.
If you put it in the category of just fruit beer, you're going to get in the 20s.
Okay.
I'm going to... Because it's going to be...
there's not enough fruit.
No, it's got bread in it. It's out of style. Everything else. You maybe get a 21.
Okay.
Then we just blame JP for
right.
disappointing
but
you
if you just threw it in as a 20 fruit beer with what it is, you get a 21.
Okay.
Because they throw you out of the style and everything else because it's just not there.
Right.
If you put it in as a Brett fruit beer-ish, your score's going to go up. Maybe a 27. Something like that, but it still needs complexity and needs a few things to fix that one. But just as a general, what it is with no flaws and kind of a cool thing that you're kind of experimenting with. Yeah, 36.
Okay,
it's a pretty decent beer all the way around.
Absolutely.
It's fun, but when you're trying to shoehorn it into something, that's when you start losing points. Not because it's a bad beer.
Bryan, are you still with us?
Yes.
All right, man. Tell me how you handled the peaches for this thing, because I have a theory.
Yeah, so whenever I got the peaches, I quartered them. And, it's interesting you said about, having, I don't know, I left the skins on, which I was hoping maybe I would get a little bit of maybe some natural something or another that give me a little tartness, because I was using the Brett and the Saison yeast, and I was thinking I can get a little something that's floating around the orchard, but you're right, I don't get a lot of sourness. But so I quartered the peaches. I took the pit out and just basically put quartered peaches with skin on into the fermenter.
For how long?
So I primary fermentation was about maybe 2 weeks maybe, and then I let it sit because I was waiting for the peaches to kind of come in season. They're a little late here in Pennsylvania this year, so took a few more weeks. So it sat in the primary for another maybe 3 weeks, so 6 weeks in primary, and then on the peaches for maybe 3 weeks.
Did you rack off the yeast cake?
I racked off the. I have a speedo, whatever you call it.
Mm-hmm. Speedo.
15. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
You got it there. 15-gallon. One of those 15-gallon fermenters. And so I did my primary in there, and then I racked off and saved my yeast cake for later use. And I split it into two 6-gallon carboys, and I took I had. It's interesting. Living so close to the orchard, I get the seconds on the peaches. They don't sell them, so you get them for super cheap, like $12 for 27 pounds, and so it makes a beer like this easy to do. So I just split the 27 pounds evenly into two carboys, and I pitched put the beer on top of the peaches.
Okay. A couple of things. One, what I didn't care for about the beer, I love the aroma. I'm agreeing with everybody else, but there was a sharpness to it, a very much like a. I don't know if it's bitter, but sharp.
Yeah.
So
did you use the pit? Did you throw the pits in there?
No. Well, he didn't. So first part is I wonder if you did get something off the skins that kind of made it ferment this weird way. So I would try maybe. Trying to kill all that.
Maybe the skins themselves,
Maybe a little bit.
The tannins coming off the skins.
Yeah, maybe try pulling half the skins off or whatever. The second thing is a lot of people who use fruit and ferment with fruit suggest at least throwing some of the stones in there, some of the pits in there, because there is a smooth quality. There is some structure tannin and some, I don't know what. It would take a radio host to explain it to you. But that you can get from doing that. There's a deeper complexity. So I would try that.
Yeah.
This
beer is really interesting in the sense that, listen to you guys describe it. It went through a lot of stages from the time I brewed it to now as well. I mean, initially the hops were really like, it's funny, they're clashing with the Saison, yeast.
Maybe it's a bitterness.
Esters.
What's the bittering hop in this? The Citra?
The bittering is actually Citra, and then but everything's late edition, 60 minute, and the 60 minute edition was just some Citra, and it was like a half an ounce, and then everything was late, trying to get that.
Brian,
drive that aroma.
Is it too much flavor? Like
I didn't get a big bitterness. The sharpness
there's a
might
sharp
be the
bitterness thing.
The lemony, like the tang to it.
All right,
I don't know.
Yeah, there's definitely a sharpness to it.
If you guys had a guess, what do you think the alcohol is on this beer?
6.4.
Yeah.
I just guessed. I have no idea.
Yeah, I was going to say 6.5 ish.
Yeah, it's 11.
What?
No.
What?
That's a lot.
Yeah.
Are you serious, dude?
Yeah. Don't you feel warm? Do you feel warm after you? I was listening to Doc talk about it. Did you feel warm after you drank this thing? I'm sitting here drinking a bottle of it. I'm feeling warm as shit.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. My face is a little warm, but
yeah,
but it's always warm.
Well, no, I had a lot of their beers before this one.
I know.
But yeah,
I hit 8. I hit 8 on the grist, and then when I hit with all that peach, it ramped it up to. Well, I used the formula to figure it out,
Man,
so
I think with a beer this high alcohol, you need more body.
Yeah, I got no solventy stuff out of it. It wasn't hot.
I know, right? So he's like,
you did really well.
I think you did well, but I think for an 11% beer.
Well, it was more like a cider. Maybe that's where the cider.
You want to sip on it.
That's where the cidery kind of.
That's
came
probably
from.
where you get there. Yeah.
So I would personally like more body.
No, I thought it was just great. Bring
the alcohol down.
But for 11% beer, he hit that really well.
I agree.
It got a little cidery.
I agree. I guess for me that's, and I shouldn't be saying that
because
but
the chewiness would warn you that it's high alcohol.
I don't know if I buy that.
It'd be easier to sip on.
I don't think it's 11%.
I don't think it's quite 11%.
The calculations could be a little off, and really sometimes when you add fruit, you think it's adding a lot of sugars, and you there's different calculations out there, but it doesn't always add all that much sugar to your beer.
I wouldn't say 11.
What was the starting gravity of the base beer?
Starting gravity. OG was 1075.
1075. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I hit it with 13.5 pounds of peaches per 6 gallons. So when I did I used one of the formulas at BYO a couple of years back. To estimate what the peaches put out.
Yeah, and did the beer pull every ounce of sugars out of those peaches?
Yeah, right. So, but it's got to be at least
for sure.
I mean, I'm warm,
Yeah. I feel the warming too when you in the back of the throat. It does give you a little warming there for sure.
It's interesting because it's sneaky, right?
Yeah,
it is
because it's leathery and dry, and you don't get that. Like sometimes with alcohol, you get the sweetness of the alcohol, and it's like, oh, that's a big alcoholic beer. Yeah. This one's just so dry, you don't get any of that.
Yeah, you didn't really get that. So I'd say good
job. The Brett
job.
took over. I mean, interestingly enough, when I was getting ready, this is my first Brett beer, so I've learned a lot from listening to you guys over the years and all the shows, and I know you guys do that all the time, but I've learned a lot. And so the Brett, I brewed the beer. I pitched I had a starter I used the French Saison 3711, the YE Saison. I had pitched that, and I was kind of sitting there like for 3 or 4 hours after I pitched the Saison yeast, and I was thinking, do I pitch the Brett now or later, or trying to figure out what kind of character I was going to get. So I was planning on experimenting with Brett. So it's Brett, I can never say it. Brett C, Brett Cosini, right?
Mm-hmm. So
Cosini. Cassini, there you go. So I had actually had a smack pack and a tube of Y yeast, and so it was like one of those things where you're like, what do I do? And then last minute I just pitched them both. Right? Like 4 hours after I pitched because I didn't really, the truth be told, I wasn't really shooting for more of all of this horse blanket, and I was really hoping for more of the fruit flavors you're supposed to get from that Brett, you know.
And it's slow acting, you know, so the yeast is going to do more at first than the Brett does. But just the fact that you added it right away, it does put that extra notch into Brett heavy territory where it might not have been if it hadn't.
And I had done a starter on this on the Saison yeast. It took off like within 12 hours, and so I was hoping that it would take over, and then the Brett would take time to catch up, you know. And
after the 6 weeks, where was your gravity at?
After the 6 weeks, I was at the hydrometer read 1.002, but it was 1. Corrected 1.013 maybe.
Right. Yeah.
So and the thing is like it's very interesting. Like with this beer is that and I don't know if you guys ever had this experience, and this is a question I have for you that you might have experience with this. I put the whole fruit in, and initially before I pitched the fruit, you know, like I said earlier, I gave Tasty some credit. Always taste your beer, right? He's always a big proponent of that. So I tasted it when it was done with the primary, and it tasted horrible. The hops were clashing with the yeast, and it was just like I was distraught about it. And so, but interestingly enough, I pitched the fruit on top, or pitched it on top of the fruit, and you know. It basically smoothed out all of those problems. And I can't decide whether it was the fruit or if it was the Brett kind of kicking in and kind of taking over and maybe processing some of those esters.
Well, you also have the hops are going to fade. And at first the hops are going to be right in your face. They don't go... Bitterness does not really go real well with Brett.
The Brett had already done a lot, too. Yeah. So, I mean, by that point, if it was down to 10.02, you know, what you were tasting was what the Brett had done. And the fruit can help smooth something out and give it a little sweetness right away when you add the fruit, and then that's going to go away, too. But, yeah.
But a lot of things had changed.
So interestingly enough, the peach, this is not my first experience with peach. I may or may not have been privy to some corn whiskey somewhere along the way. The kind of thing that, you know, that...
In theory.
Yeah, in theory. Right. And in theory, it really tasted like ass as well. And,
it always does.
One of those things that I thought I might do is, having access to all this fruit here in this orchard, I threw some peaches on that material. And ironically, it was interesting. A few weeks later, I tasted it, and it had pulled. Like, I guess all of those alcohols that were just horrible. It had. I have to believe that the peaches had pulled all of that out into the fruit. And the reason this is important to me for this beer is, you know, I want to brew this again throughout the year, but the idea is can I only brew this whenever the fruit is in season, or can I use puree? Because I'm trying to pull some of those flavors out of the beer that I didn't necessarily like, and I'm sold that it was the peaches. But brewers brew fruit beers year round,
and that's your next experiment, isn't it?
Puree.
Yeah. I mean, if you have a beer that you want to fix and it happens to be December, you know, puree. What you have to do?
Yes, you can definitely use purees. Totally.
It might not be as fresh tasting as the peach quality in this beer is, but it'll do something similar to it.
You might scare yourself, and it's better,
right? Well, and you can you can also fix kind of what you don't get maybe with some flavorings. So if you use like peach extract or peach puree, you may not get the fresh aromatics, but maybe you can put a drop or two of a flavor extract.
Yeah, just to
brighten the nose a little bit.
And it's also not going to have those wild yeasts on the fruit skin.
Yeah,
that you're
it's true. It's going to be sterile.
It's a different animal.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, I would definitely give it a go, especially when you don't have the fruit available.
All right, Brian, I got to let you go, man.
All right, one last question. Where would you put this in the new BJCP?
I said 28C wild specialty beer.
Yeah, I'm with him.
All right, not 26L, huh? Experimental?
No, that's too wide of a category, I think. And then you're kind of thrown in with all the
jalapeno,
all the short bus kids.
Yeah.
Vienna lager.
The 28C has like New Glarus, Eric's. It has some of those esoteric sour and Brett aged fruit beers and things like that in it, so it can fit there.
It would, but yeah, I'm with Bryan on the first one, the 28C.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. It was really fun.
Thanks for sharing. It's been fun talking with you about your beer.
Thanks, Bryan. All right, bud. See you. Cool beer.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take a break. A little long segment, and then we're going to come back, and we're going to do another beer. It's Dr. Homebrew. Everybody, stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Tampa Bay has become a great destination for craft beer lovers with more than 60 breweries and counting, like Cigar City, Tampa Bay, and Coppertail Brewing. One of the newest breweries is Four Stacks Brewing Company in Apollo Beach. With a great selection of craft beer, including their own, Four Stacks brings the best of the West Coast to Florida. Enjoy beer from Russian River, Ballast Point, Stone, and Four Stacks' own IPAs from their plentiful 18 taps, including, of course, local and regional craft beers as well. It's like celebrating Tampa Bay Beer Week every week. Four Stacks hosts monthly homebrew club meetings, bottle shares, and partners with local restaurants for free food delivery while you enjoy your pint in their new tap room. Stop by Four Stacks Brewing and support the greater Tampa Bay craft beer scene at a brand new, community-oriented, independent brewery. Four Stacks Brewing Company in Apollo Beach, Florida, a monument to beer.
Hello, fellow BNers. This is Sully from the 21st Amendment Brewery located in San Francisco, just 2 blocks from Giants Park. Before Nico and I opened the 21A and before I was a professional brewer, I homebrewed on my small 4-burner apartment stove in a back house in Santa Monica, California, making my extract brews before graduating to the daunting idea of all-grain brewing. Homebrew books and information was hard to come by back then. The internet hadn't been invented yet, along with other things we take for granted today, like electricity and potable water. One thing I wish I had back then when I was learning was a radio show that could teach me the ins and outs of brewing and answer questions that I had about homebrewing, a resource for making great craft beer. The 21st Amendment Brewery is excited to be a proud sponsor of Dr. Homebrew, a great show that teaches you what you need to know about making incredible beer. Good stuff. Listen up, you might learn something. I certainly did. And thanks for your support. Tasty Crack Kings.
Since the first time the Brewing Network microphones turned on, More Beer was behind it. More Beer sponsors the programming on the BN because, like you, they love brewing. And like the Brewing Network, they love sharing their knowledge. Morebeer.com isn't just a website to place your next equipment or ingredient order. Morebeer.com also gives you access to free beer information that will make you a better brewer. Go to morebeer.com and click into the Learning Center. You'll find podcasts, technical facts, video tutorials, and more, including access to The Buzz, More Beer's social network of more than 5,000 members. And some of them might even be crazier about beer than you are. Get over to morebeer.com today and take advantage of The Buzz, the forum, the Learning Center, and make sure you're signed up to receive the newest More Beer catalog. More Beer, bringing you absolutely everything for beer making.
That's it. I've had it. I am never putting hops in my beer again.
What? Why?
It's just too ridiculous. Insane prices, stupid contracts, high shipping costs, crappy selection.
Dude, you need Nico Brew.
Nico Brew will rock your f***ing face right the f*** off your f***ing skull. $5 shipping to all 50 states, plus fantastic international rates get you low prices on Nico Brew's great selection of hops and more. Whether you're a home brewer, a pro brewer, or a homebrew shop owner, Nico Brew can get you the hops you need in increments big and small, single orders, spot buys, or full contracts. And there's only one place to join the uber special secret elite bare bones club where you'll get the best deals anywhere.
Holy shit.
NicoBrew.com. NIKOBREW. Nico Brew, your bare bones buddy in the brewing business.
Now, back to the examination.
right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you.
About to judge a double from Christian. Christian could not be with us today. He emailed me earlier this morning. He's like, dude, I'm taking over a friend's shift at work, so I got to bail on you. I was like, that's fine. Got to make that money, girl. You know what I'm trying to say? But before we get to it, I want to tell you guys about the Spring Brews Festival. You know, of course, our trials and tribulations with the Winter Brews Fest in April. Usually it's... no, is it in April? No, it's... When the fuck is it? January. Thank you very much, Bryan. It's in January usually, but this time it is April 2nd, which is a Saturday. And, of course, it's right here in Todos Santos Park in lovely downtown Concord, California. You can go to bnbrewfest.com. I believe tickets are on sale right now. And if you go to bnbrewfest.com, there's like a little slideshow of, past fests. And I just saw my in-laws on them, which is very weird to say and to see. So there you go. And there's a really awesome photo of Justin. It's pretty gross. Anyway, Spring Brews Fest, man. Check it out. Unlimited tastings, $40 in advance, $50 at the door. So I highly suggest you buy them in advance. You can also get tickets to our VIP tasting session, which is right here at the Hop Grenade before the show or before the fest.
What's that entail?
I have no idea.
I do.
Why don't you tell us, Doug?
You get in here an hour and a half early into the Hop Grenade only. It's a private show.
All right.
They put on special beers on the 21 taps. You get to try all those, as many and as often as you want. Once the VIP is done, they remove all those beers and they change them back out again. So
they pull them down.
So it's all exclusive to you, and then you get to enter the fest right into the VIP entrance.
Okay.
So you don't have to go in the big line in the front with all the riffraff.
Wow.
Yep.
Riffraff free.
Yes.
Well, unless the riffraff joins you. But that's pretty cool. I like it. I like it a lot. Awesome. So check it out. bnbrewfest.com. All right, Doc, what we're trying here today is a Belgian Dubbel from Christian.
Oh, my most...
Your most favoritist?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
are you being Doc-castic?
No.
Doc's happy place.
Yes, it is.
So yeah, like I said, Christian couldn't join us today. So this is us in the studio talking about it.
Oh, good.
So Doc, why don't you go ahead and start us off?
All right.
Since this is your happy place.
Oh yeah, I was pretty happy that you actually gave me a beer that I would maybe like.
Maybe.
So I got delivered out on my doorstep. By you, like a day late.
You did.
Ish.
And $1 short.
Mm-hmm. So, actually, put it right in the fridge, worked my way up to it, because...
Doc.
What?
What do you think about the beer?
I'm getting there.
I was walking down the street.
No. Shut up. Give me some... So I was actually really looking forward to trying this one out and not having to be rushed through it, which is why I make you give them to me ahead of time.
Well, okay. Yes, go ahead.
Otherwise, you would have me in here like rushing through it in 10 minutes.
I'll let you live with that. That's fine.
Okay, good.
Okay.
So, got it.
I love you, and I want to tell you that. I want to share that with you and our listening audience, that I'm in love with you.
And he wants you to know that you can't make him do anything.
That's true.
Got that?
Yes. Okay.
Good.
Go ahead.
So, checked out the bottle. I thought that, let's just tear on it right now. I thought it was a low fill, which always kind of scares me a little bit.
Okay.
Because usually it means somebody's capping on a really foamy beer.
Yeah.
Maybe they had some issues with it. Maybe they just... Bottling is an issue, too. I don't know. But it was kind of a low fill. I saw some crud on the inside of the neck. I popped the cap. The cap had some crud around the rim.
It's a sturdy bottle, though.
Oh
it's
no!
really
It was one of those. It was one of those little.
The 750 or 375.
Yeah,
looks like a stubby
bottles?
750.
Small, stubby, Belgian-y.
I think we used to sell those on More Beer way back when.
I like the bottle. I do. But the cap was crusty and rusty. Didn't like that.
Okay.
So I was a little bit leery about it. So I wiped off the whole top of the rim and got that kind of cleaned off.
And he almost didn't taste it.
Oh, no. Come on. Hell no. I've tasted worse looking things, believe me. So once I got it poured in the glass, and I actually used a real Belgian glass and everything else because I was very proud that I got this beer. It's the aroma coming off the top was malty, slightly musty, a little astringent maybe, toffee raisins, got a lot of dried cherries coming off of it.
Yeah.
Fruity, musty, then into almost nothing. The aroma went right away. It just kind of disappeared. So I would cap it, shake it a little bit, then smell it again, and just the aroma was just weird. It would just kind of go away, but still really good. No hop aroma to speak of, which is normal for the style.
Yeah.
Just kind of getting that nice toffee raisiny kind of thing out of it. Appearance, light to medium brown. Sometimes they should be a little bit lighter in color. Now I'm looking at here, not in my glass because it's a bigger glass, but it's real appropriate for the style color-wise. It's not opaque.
Yeah, I think you nailed the color pretty well.
Yeah. Mine was very cloudy. Probably from JP's handling before I got it.
Motherfuckers.
And you poured the whole thing out, right?
No, of course I didn't do that.
I was starting to get a little bit of stuff at the bottom of this.
I know. I poured about maybe 2/3 of it, and it was still cloudy because JP's handling.
I hope you both lose your Viagra prescriptions. You know that?
I don't need one of those.
No.
Anyway, so normal Belgian head should be a lot more frothy, a lot more lacy, and I didn't quite get that. But it's a nice tan head. Lasted for a while, but I had it in a Duvel glass, which is going to make the head, keep going. So that was a little bit, little off for me. Real small bubbles and a real tight head on it. It wasn't big bubbles that went away real fast.
Yeah.
So it was kind of really indicative. It looked really nice for a Belgian.
Okay.
Flavor. Fruit up front. Still got a lot of cherries. I didn't get any clove, per se, in it. No spiciness.
Yeah, I agree.
Mid flavors. Clean, malty. Sweetness.
Backtrack. Do you want clove?
Sometimes.
Is that what you're looking for in there?
That's a personal kind of thing.
Okay.
And that has to do more with the yeast you're going to be using.
Because, I know it's part of the style guidelines, but what you're saying is it doesn't have to be there. If it's not there, that's totally okay.
No, and it should be, at best, it should be light.
Okay.
If it's there, great. If you like it, great. If it's not there, it's not anything you're going to be detracted from.
Okay.
You just don't want mega cloves coming through.
Right. Or mega banana. I mean, this has a little banana, but not much.
Yeah.
It's very pleasant.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
just wanted to clarify. Thank you.
Yes. Thanks for doing that. So, the mid flavors are clean, malty, sweetness. It finishes pretty dry, though. Slightly on the bitter side. If I had something to detract from this thing, it finished out a little too bitter.
Okay.
It's just kind of lingering, but not bad. You want it dry, but not bitter dry.
Right.
There's a little bit of a difference there. Dry just means that the maltiness drops away, and bitterness is a different way of almost giving you that dry sensibility on that one, the sensation.
Okay.
So this one kind of tended more towards the bitter dryness rather than just dropping off in the maltiness. Near the end, and after you put the glass down, I did get a slight diacetyl, which is
okay.
Yeah, not in up front, not at all. You're not going to really taste it, but it's just I got it after I put the glass down, and I still had the residual in my mouth from the malty sweetness, and I got a little bit of diacetyl, which is still not out of the norm for this thing. You're not supposed to get any of it or a lot of it, but still, this was very minimal.
Okay.
And it was really right, not when I'm tasting it. It's like at the end when, you still got that maltiness in your mouth.
Yeah.
And that I still got a little bit of that one. Mouthfeel, fully appropriate. I just liked it. I really liked it a lot. It was medium mouthfeel, not too sweet. Really good effervescence, which kind of lifted the sweetness off of your tongue.
Yeah, his target was 3 volumes of CO2.
He did good.
Yeah.
You could tell it was about that when it came off of when you poured it out. It didn't, foam when I opened the thing. It didn't over foam the glass when I foamed, but it was really effervescent without being super effervescent, which would have been a 3.5 or 4. So yeah, it was definitely more than normal, but
Perky.
That's it. Perky is great. I got some alcohol warmth in it. Mm-hmm. Definitely, it's a higher alcohol beer. It's hidden well. I didn't get a lot of solvent characteristics in it, which you can get with if you ferment it too hot. You're going to get it, nail polishy kind of weird stuff going on, acetone, things like that. Right. I didn't get any of that out of there, but you can tell it's got some. Alcohol is weird because you get a little bit of heat, but you also get some sweetness with it, which is a different than...
You do, yeah.
It's different than, say, malty sweetness or sugar sweetness. Mm-hmm. But it just adds to the kind of the whole complexity of the whole thing. If you took the alcohol of this beer, it would not be the same.
Right.
Yeah, so you've got that kind of flavor to it. So, basically, overall, quiet alcoholic. It hides it well, though. No solvent notes. A little bit of oxidation, like this is an older beer.
Yeah, a little bit of that, little musty kind of thing. Yeah,
it's got musty. It's got a little bit of the
very pleasant
sherry notes.
Yeah.
The fact that it's a big, dark melanoidin beer, you can hide that pretty well because it kind of sucks it back up.
Yeah.
You can age it a little bit better, but yeah, definitely, I kind of got some of that out of it. Like it's been around a while. Not to the point where it's turned or anything.
No, it's drinkable right now.
Oh, I've had much worse commercial beers served.
Oh,
totally. Even at your favorite bar.
I don't have one of those.
Yeah, I mean facetious.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking about. I know.
Which one?
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Yeah.
The hop grenade. I'm kidding.
Nah. So I think better bottling techniques, definitely.
Okay, like what?
Well, for one thing, having all that, crud on the bottle cap and everything. Usually when you're bottle capping these things, they're foaming like mad or whatever. It's coming over the top.
Yeah.
It's good to pack on foam because then you're going to get it sealed and no CO2 in there. But wash your bottles after that. Don't leave any of that sugary stuff around the cap.
Around the cap, okay.
It should be sealed enough there where you can wash them off. And then you're not going to have...
Oh, yeah, I see.
Yeah. So you're going to get that crudliness kind of...
He almost has like powder burns on that one.
Yeah. And the one I had was even worse.
Yeah, okay.
But it's leaving the sugar right there. And you can also get mold on that sugar.
Yeah.
So a little bit better bottling techniques. Bottle when it's colder. Everything cold. And at a higher temp. If you're using a beer gun, you don't really have that... you don't have that technique you can use. If you're using a counter pressure, pump the pressure up. This bottle you have there can take a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
And so it won't foam nearly as much. Just pump the pressure up that you're putting in there. Then you don't get all the foam coming over. And then rinse the bottle afterwards. That's always a big key. I thought it was a good choice for his yeast and the temp he used his yeast. I'm guessing it was WLP 500, the Trappist.
He might tell me. He does not.
Yeah, it's probably the Trappist.
He said primary ferment at 67 for 3 days, then liberalized to 71 at 14 days, placed at 50 for 4 weeks, then 2 days at 34. New Belgian yeast.
Okay.
But I don't know which
whatever that is.
Yeah.
I was looking at the WLP 500, the Trappist yeast. If you do that at low, mid temperatures, you're going to get fruity, not spicy, which is kind of what this is.
Yeah.
Not solventy, all that kind of stuff. So I really like this beer.
Yeah. What'd you give it?
I gave it a 45.
Wow, you really do like this beer.
I really thought this one was spot on, except for a little bit of the oxidation.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't like. And a little bit too bitter in the finish.
Okay.
Those are my only two downgrades are that.
Okay, very nice. Bryan.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Belgian Dubbel. Thank you, Doc, for your comments. Thank you, JP, for hosting. Belgian Dubbel, and thank you, Christian, for sending it. This is, in the aroma, there's some definite alcohol obvious in there. But the main thing I get up front was the same thing that Doc mentions, just raisiny and prune-like and cherry notes, a lot of fruitiness. With some generally higher aromatics from esters than most Belgian doubles will give you, and then toffee-like malt underneath that, and some breadiness and some other stuff. But it's like toffee and fruit mixed together. Toffee fruit. It does have a low spicy quality, just a hint of clove, but again, not very much, and. No bad diacetyl, DMS, anything like that. No hop character coming through as you would kind of expect for this beer. It's not a hoppy beer. All the elements are there. The fruit wins out big time, but it's inviting. So I like the aroma. I also like the appearance, and I agreed with the comment about the head fading pretty soon after pouring. It just. At first, I thought it might be the glass I'm drinking it out of here, but I pre-rinsed both of the ones I poured into with the beer and swirled, and it falls flat. So, but the color is beautiful. It's got a rich reddish copper color with very good clarity when pouring out of the top of the bottle, and a low off-white head that just disappeared. Primarily the fine pinpoint kind of bubbles. I feel like I'm just parroting what Doc said exactly, but that is what it looked like.
You can just if you guys are mirroring a lot, then you can just fast forward.
Yada 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 yada. Blah, blah, blah. Done. Okay, no. Fruitiness in the flavor was similar as in the aroma with the raisin, a lot cherry like, but I got a very prominent drying in the flavor. In the finish of the beer. So just a late pale. It just had it was drying. But again, like you said, there is that sweetness of the alcohol there too to balance it a little bit. So it's not that bad. And I think also it was the first beer I judged, and as I retaste it, I kind of appreciate it a little bit more. And it might also have a little bit more yeast in this pour because we poured the last part of the bottle out. And that kind of helps to maybe meld some of the stuff, getting a little more of the yeast character in there with the malt and the fruitiness from the esters. So I did get some the alcohol was more than just smooth. There was a little bit of a bite. It just seemed a little bit hot, and the balance definitely to the malt and the yeast character. The fruitiness and the of the malt combined with the fruitiness from the yeast makes for. I mean, that's what the style's about. So, got that right. The alcohol does linger into the aftertaste, along with that fruitiness, and the hops kind of low and out of the way. The bitterness, kind of medium low out of the way as it should be. Pretty decent flavor. Just a little. The drying was the distraction for me, and the alcohol a little bit. Not as smooth as I would like it. The mouthfeel had I felt some moderate tannins, a little bit of astringency in there up front, and it gave it kind of a leathery feeling, accenting, flowing off of that dryness of the beer that's already there. And it has a little bit of drying impression. I don't want the beer to be cloyingly sweet, but I think that it's a little on the rough side because it's so drying. And a little bit of astringency. Not harsh, not rough, not too bad, but just a bit of that. And then combined with the dryness, throws the mouthfeel off for me just a little bit. I mean, otherwise the carbonation was where it needed to be, a medium high. Some obvious alcohol warmth, which you want. It's still a little bit hot in the back of the throat and not quite as creamy and smooth as I'd like. So the mouthfeel was pretty good. But maybe not as much as Doc liked it. Overall, don't get me wrong. I like this beer. I like the aromas and the flavors that are here in the beer quite a lot. It's a balanced thing for me. The fruitiness is way over the top. It's all raisin, cherry, prune. There's a little bit of malt flavor in there, and there's some definite alcohol, but it's not as smooth as I want it. The fruitiness that's there, it's a pleasant fruitiness. It tastes good. And it has a good deal of complexity. So, I mean, I really can see why someone would like this beer a lot. But you could just use a little more on the malt side to stand up to all that fruit that's there. Maybe a little toasty quality, some munickiness or something else in there, some dark munickiness, some richness on the malt side. And a light sweetness could help this balance out a little bit more. I'd like to see where it finished. Do we have the final gravity on the beer?
This is a great question.
It'd be nice to talk about the recipe and what we can learn about the beer, since we cannot talk to Christian right now.
I do not have that information.
Okay. But if we know what malts were used, that'd be nice. We can get to that. But a little sweetness could help the beer, and again, that bit more of that toastiness. But I still liked it. I gave it a 36, and I'm kind of substantially lower than Doc. I would argue more for the mid to upper 30s than 40s myself. And if we were judging as a pair, we would have to work that out and arrive at a score that is closer to each other. But I think
luckily we don't have to do that.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. So we're going to let it stand. But
okay.
Yeah, what was in that recipe? What do we have malt wise?
I don't have it.
Nothing.
No,
okay,
he didn't give it to me.
Okay.
Yeah, which is fine. What I think I'm going to do is add a column to that sheet and actually have everybody put that stuff in. Because it would be nice to know that right now, especially because we can't. And but also in his defense, he didn't know he was going to be covering a shift for somebody tonight.
Yeah,
so we would have talked to him anyway. So it normally isn't a big deal.
Yeah. It'd be nice if you knew it.
Yeah,
and we didn't.
Right.
And when we're judging, we don't want to know.
Yeah, we don't want to know then. But when we can ask you,
right,
afterwards or during, it would make a lot of sense.
That's usually why we have the brewer on to interview. That's the whole point of that. So they can ask questions and we can ask questions of them. So I know that if Christian knew he wasn't going to be here, he would have given me the recipe for sure. So it's just poor timing.
I would like to thank him for sending it in, though, and it was fun to taste this beer for sure.
I liked it.
I like the bottles too. I think I'm going to take that home.
I think you should. All right, everyone, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back, and we're going to do a little fast recap and then get out of here. Dr. Homebrew, stick around.
Do you know the three most important rules in brewing? Sanitation, sanitation, and sanitation. And no one does it better than 5-Star Chemicals. 5-Star knows sanitation. You can only sanitize clean equipment. And 5-Star knows how to clean, too. For craft brewers and home brewers, 5-Star has what you need to keep your fermenters, serving tanks, kegs, and draft lines sparkling and free of any beer-spoiling bacteria. PBW, caustic, acid cleaners, Star San, SaniClean, lubricants and defoamers, pH stabilizers, and more. 5-Star Chemicals has cleaning supplies, safety supplies, heat exchangers, pumps, hoses, and valves. And 5-Star is proud to offer eco-friendly products that exceed customer expectations. If you have a cleaning problem, you need the 5-Star solution. Visit 5starchemicals.com or call 800-782-7019. 800-782-7019 and get the 5-Star treatment today. Admit it. Homebrewing is not always free of frustrations. Years ago, brothers Bill and Jim Mitchell decided to minimize those frustrations and create an entirely new brewing process and a brand new kitchen appliance, the Pico Brew Zymatic. The Zymatic sits on your kitchen counter and connects to the internet via Wi-Fi. It comes with access to a huge recipe library full of award-winning beers and can brew your next batch at the push of a button. Improve repeatability and refine your recipes with the Pico Brew Zymatic. With minimal cleaning and hassle, the Zymatic enables anyone to brew craft beer in the comfort of their own kitchen. Just add your ingredients and the process of homebrewing becomes simplified and automatic, allowing you to focus on what really matters while you brew. At Pico Brew, they believe everyone should be able to enjoy the art of homebrewing and make their own damn good craft beer. See the Zymatic in action today at picobrew.com.
Hey,
dude, you know what beer this is?
Oh, no, all the labels are falling off.
Yeah, or the ink is run.
Well, if it's the pale ale, you're good, but stay away from the quote-unquote Belgian.
Oh, man, this guy needs to get some grog tags.
Grog tags are reusable, write-on, wipe-off, commercial-grade bottle labels for your brew. The guys at Grog Tag are homebrewers. They wanted great-looking, sturdy labels for your bottles, buckets, carboys, kegs, and growlers. They also wanted a label that not only looks good, but can be easily removed and reapplied during bottling without that nasty glue residue being left behind. No residue, water-resistant, and ice chest approved. Grog tags stay on in water or an ice chest, and they stay legible. Visit grogtag.com to customize your label or coaster from dozens of different templates for free and see how awesome your bottles can look.
It's that pseudo-Belgian.
Yeah, we're getting him some grog tags, dude.
Grog Tag. At least your beer will look good. grogtag.com.
I'm sorry to tell you this, but we're going to have to pour you out.
Back to Dr. Homebrew.
All right, thanks for sticking around. Woo. So we have a couple things to do. Number one, I want to thank everybody for sending in beer. Christian and Bryan had some good beers.
Yes. Thank you.
And then we also have to give some swag away. And by the way, swag is free stuff, and swag is short for swagger. It's like your attitude. You don't get swag from a brewery. It's swag. There's a fucking H in it. It's swag.
I think you're born with swag.
You're
right?
born with swag, or you copy it. But you're a SoCal kid. Isn't that a SoCal deal? Swag.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's swag, right?
Swag. Yeah.
Here, I got a bag of swag. I got a bunch of shit.
Here's a keychain.
I was born with so much swag, I collected a lot of swag.
See?
That's a good way to use both.
Bryan gets it. Okay, so the winner of our $40 Grog Tag, At Least Your Beer Will Look Good gift certificate is none other than Millions of Peaches, Bryan Newman.
Thank you, Bryan.
I'm the only one clapping.
Yay.
There we go. Good job, guys. Appreciate it. Bryan, you will get a gift certificate to Grog Tag, so you can put labels on your deal. You can get a metal sign with your label. You get some, homemade not homemade, but coasters for your home. Tap handles.
You get a big label that says fruit beer and send bottles to Doc.
Awesome.
And the best part is they're reusable, man. And if you don't want to, if you're not a good drawer, you're not a good artist or whatever, they have hundreds of templates. I think literally hundreds of templates now. All high quality art, all reusable stuff. So check them out, grogtag.com. They're big sponsors of Dr. Homebrew. We love them. We absolutely love them. And we wouldn't be here without them.
Doing the Lord's work.
Christian, sorry, I don't have anything for you, bro. But both of our contestants will get the home version. No, they will get a nice little fun package from 5 Star, which is our main sponsor, our title sponsor of the show, as we call them. And we definitely wouldn't be here without those people at 5 Star Chemicals. So contact everybody that you've heard on this program and thank them for being a part of Dr. Homebrew.
Yay.
Okay, I think we're ready. I think it is. I think we're ready to go. For those of you who wanted to watch this, live stream's being a dick. Well, actually, it's the computer being a dick tonight, so there's no live stream tonight. If you're listening live, stay tuned. We're going to have 2 more beers coming up at you in a couple of minutes here.
37 seconds, actually.
37 seconds. And then, if you're a podcast guy, you might have to wait a couple of weeks to hear this, but, it's worth it, trust me. Doc, appreciate it.
I appreciate me, too.
Bryan?
I appreciate both
Doc.
of you guys.
Thanks.
More than you even know.
Thank you.
And
Thanks,
you look good on a yacht.
Thank
both
you.
of you.
Oh, thank you very much. All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out. It's been Dr. Homebrew, and be good to each other.